Am I the asshole for keeping a black wedding dress? I, 25 female, got engaged to my 31 male fiancé last Halloween. My FMIL, 55 female, never really liked me due to my tattoos, piercings, a practicing pagan, and former SW. However, my fiancé, who is also heavily modded, is always quick to tell her to keep her mouth shut if she has nothing nice to say. And for the most part, we've had no major issues. My great aunt, 69 female, she essentially had nothing much to with me after the first tattoo, until I got engaged. I took my FMIL, his GMA, and FSILs, my mom, sister and my GA, who wasn't invited but showed up at my house anyway before we left. Didn't want to hurt her feelings, so I let her come with us. OFC, as soon as I walk out in the first champagne dress, FMIL says, "It's cute but it's not white." My mom corrects her, she's not getting a white dress, because she doesn't want one. GA scoffs and crosses her arms. Well, I am not paying for a dress if it's not going to be a real wedding dress. I then reminded her that I am paying this dress and worked my ass off for a year to save for my dress, for this specific reason. I found this beautiful black ball gown $350 under my budget. Everyone but FMIL and GA was crying happy tears. They were silent, so I honestly thought maybe they'd just accepted it. Or were just afraid of my mom, who was continuously jumping their asses the entire time we were shopping. I guess FMIL and aunt exchanged contact and decided to both send me a list of demands or they wouldn't be attending. I have to get a new dress that will cover all of my tattoos, with both of them present so they can make sure it correct. I have to take all my piercings out for the wedding, so they can actually look at and show off the pictures. The dress has to be white, and to top it off, the bottom of text from FMIL read, "I am tired of your BS, enough is enough. It's time to grow the hell up. A black dress is satanic, it makes your GA and I extremely uncomfortable. Nothing you are is of God. And it is a slap in the face to, fiancé. To display to the world how much a used woman you are to go wear the complete opposite of innocence and virginity. If you do not cooperate, I will be messaging my son," so I just replied with "then don't come." And formally disinvited my aunt, basically told her to go F herself an hour. My fiancé told his mother that if she cannot accept me for the way I am, then she can't accept him. And that if that's the case and she wants to be a hypocrite, then maybe she should sit the wedding out. So now she's refusing to come, and is trying to get the rest of his family to drop out of the wedding, and some are because they say I'm disrespectful and a bridezilla? Now I'm being slammed with calls from families. Some are on my side. A lot of them are saying I should just get a white dress and suck it up, that it's not fair to my fiancé that his mom and some of his family won't be there now, and now I feel really guilty and like I should just return the dress and get something else so everyone can just be happy again. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Your fiancé is on your side and that's all that really matters. If I were you, I'd be super sweet when chatting with all those concerned family members, but make it incredibly clear that your FMIL doesn't get to dictate what you look like or what you wear to your own wedding. Or frankly, just ignore anyone and let your fiancé handle all the inquires. I love your husband and you. Fuck yay, not the asshole. You should do a Halloween-themed wedding. Not the asshole. Your fiancé is handling this properly. It's not your fault he has a toxic family. My sister wore a black dress when she was a bride because that made her happy. And those people can get lost and you'll be all the better for it. Not the asshole in any way. Life is short. You and your fiancé should celebrate your marriage with 5 people who love and respect you. That is all. Am I the asshole for judging the breakfast my husband makes for me? My husband and I had a baby around a month ago. Hubs is back at work and I am on maternity leave. Lately, my husband has been making me toast every morning as a little treat for me before he goes to work, and it's such a sweet gesture. All I've been craving post-pregnancy is peanut butter on toast. But the thing is, his toast, I can hardly call it that. He barely toasts it. The middle of the bread has only changed color very slightly, and the edges are still perfectly soft. It's warmed bread, is what it is. Have you ever had slightly toasted toast? It's confusing. Be bread or be toast, but if you try to be both then you're neither. And while I do appreciate that he's making me a meal, and I know in my heart that it's the thought that counts, I just want actually toasted toast back in my life. Especially as it's all I'm craving. I've mentioned it several times in the last week or so that I don't mind making my own toast, but he insists on making the toast for me before he goes to work. And I eat the barely toasted toast, because I don't like food waste if I can avoid it. But then because I've eaten the barely toast's toast, it'd be too much food for me if I made myself a second piece of actual toast after he's left, so I don't get the toast taste I'm really craving. So the other day when he was going to put the bread in the toaster, I asked him if he wouldn't mind leaving the bread in there just a little bit longer this time. He asked me if I didn't like his toast, and I said, "No, I love that you've been making me toast. I just wouldn't mind it a little bit toastier." He got a bit annoyed and said that he gets up earlier to make me my toast every morning, and now he felt like I didn't appreciate his toast. I said I did appreciate his toast, but would appreciate it more if it were actually toast. Maybe I shouldn't have put it like that, because he told me I could make my own toast if I didn't think he was up to the task of toasting. I said I would, and I think this hurt him even more. I feel like we've always asked for and given feedback on dishes we cook for one another previously, so I thought it'd be okay. Should I have kept eating the bad toast, and am I the asshole for bringing it up with him? Update. Hubs apologized. He told me he was just overtired, stressed about work and the baby, and I caught him in the absolute worst minute. I apologized for not telling him earlier. Get this. He started making the toast less toasty because the first time he did it, I was recovering from a cold, so he didn't want it to be too crusty for my sore throat. Then when I didn't say anything, he kept making it because he thought that's the way I like it now. Guess that makes me the asshole after all. I also showed him this post, comments. God, did some of them make us laugh. There were so many great insights. But honestly, some of your takes were absolutely wild. It's a red flag that I compliment my husband? He's abusive? We were just grumpy about toast, y'all. This is honestly one of the strangest things I've ever heard a married couple argue, disagree about. I'm not even mad. It is actually unbelievable that a grown adult can't handle asking for their food to be made to their preference, and the other grown adult can't handle making that food. Like, are you 18? Honestly, it sounds like he can't take any sort of criticism. Not the asshole. If I made some crappy toast, I'd want to know and try to make it better the next time. You could just change the setting on the toaster. Not the asshole gets up early to make you toast. It's a 2-second job. It's not like he is making you pancakes. Get him to crank up the numbers. Am I the asshole for accusing my sister of not caring about our family? Throwaway. 42F. And my kids recently moved back to my hometown. Significant other excited to be closer to my family. I'm the oldest of 4 kids, 36M, 31F and 28M. And proud aunt of many adorable nieces and nephews. I got a big house so we could have a hub for all of us for various family events and general hangouts. We keep in constant communication through group chat. 2 weeks ago I announced I'd host Sunday dinner, photo shoot for our kids back to school. I got confirmation from everyone but my sister, Connie, who has always kept to herself since childhood. This changed since I moved back, but I think she only shows up for the kids. She is a wonderful person, and I love her significant other much, but she has self-esteem issues. She calls herself the boring one, or the ugly duckling. It's honestly hard talking to her. She rejects compliments but easily laughs at her own insecurities, calling it being realistic. She makes herself the butt of a lot of jokes, and while it is sometimes funny, I don't like it all that much. I told her it makes me uncomfortable to hear her talk about herself that way around me. She respectfully understood and stopped. When Connie didn't respond in the group chat about coming over on Sunday, I messaged her directly. Still no answer. I'll admit, I was very disappointed that she decided not to turn up, as the kids all love her and were sad she wasn't there. One of my kids actually cried because they are best friends with her son. We continued without her, having fun and taking group photos of everyone that did show up. The next morning, we all took pics of our kids dressed and at the bus stop to celebrate their back to school. Guess who still hadn't responded? Connie. In fact, I didn't hear from her until the next day. She apologized, saying her weekend was kind of insane, but that she would be over this Sunday, and proceeded to forward a back to school pic of her son she took, but didn't send. Annoyed, I asked what was so insane that she missed such an important event for our kids. Connie said that she recently took some personality test that said she was an advocate. She said it helped her understand herself better and started reading, listening to podcasts about it. Then I found out that her son was actually with her in-laws all weekend while she chose to stay at home to craft and dress herself up to treat herself to a nice date. This set me off. I told her I was hurt she'd go out by herself instead of inviting me and our Sil, my best friend, to have fun together. That it was selfish to keep my nephew away from us who love him. That if she was going to be Mia, then just say she didn't want to spend time with her family instead of pretending she cared about us with her excuses. She apologized again, but didn't respond to any more of my texts or calls after that. Our other siblings haven't heard from her either, no surprise. I'm not even sure if she'll still be coming this Sunday. Did I take it too far with my frustration with her? You are the asshole. With her excuses, an invitation is not a summons. If your sister felt she needed to treat herself while her kid was at her in-laws, that's her business. You're the selfish one, and very controlling. I'd stay away from you, too. You are the asshole. She does have a life that doesn't always include you and your family. A party invitation is not a summons. And your nephew was with his family. It just wasn't your family. You need to lighten up. You are the asshole. An invitation is a suggestion. She decided to not take said suggestion and you get annoyed? People are allowed to have time to themselves. You are the asshole. Everything about this post is about your wants. She didn't want to go, end of story. She had no obligation to go regardless how you feel about her presence being a requirement. Also calling it, such an important event for our kids. A photo shoot? Get over yourself. I would avoid too much interaction with you too, based on reading this post. You are the asshole and sound like you're looking for a fight? Why? Nobody died and put you in charge. Let's dial it back and send some love to your sister. Am I the asshole for telling my mom and her husband they are being so weird about my grandma and their baby? My mom is expecting a baby with her husband Chris. My mom hasn't talked to her parents in about 10 years. It's a complicated mess, but they are a bunch of toxic assholes who sided with a criminal and someone they never should have over innocent people. My mom was disgusted and stepped away from them. So she has no extended family. My mom used to be married to my dad. He died 4 years ago, but they were divorced for a little over a year at the time of his death. My dad became hooked on drugs after he was a witness to something extremely traumatic and he was destroying his life before he died. It destroyed my parents' marriage and it hurt my mom a lot, especially after the drama with her family. I, 17 male, always loved my dad even when he was sick, and I do believe his addiction was a sickness, but I understand why it was so hard for my mom on top of her own family stuff. It was also hard for my dad's family. My grandma and my aunts and uncle. My grandpa died when dad and his siblings were young and my grandma also lost 2 babies. So she was through a lot as well. My mom and grandma got along fine, but I never would have called them close, and after the divorce they didn't really keep in touch much. But since my mom got pregnant, her and Chris have been so weird about my grandma. It started over my baby blanket. My grandma made my baby blanket and she has it again now because I asked her to save it for me. Dad had just died at the time and Mom and I were moving a lot and I was worried something would happen to it. Mom knew where it went. So when she learned she was having another baby, she asked Grandma to have it for her new baby. My grandma said it would be up to me and I said no. So Chris told her she should make the baby a blanket since she'll have a new grandchild. I was just as caught off guard as my grandma was. She told him the baby was not her grandchild and why would he think they are? He said since baby will be my sibling it would only be kind to accept their child as a grandchild. My mom said Grandma knows she has no family and given what my dad aka Grandma's son put her through, she should consider doing the kindest thing possible and accept them as family and welcome a new grandchild who will be related through me if nothing else. Grandma said that it wasn't fair to put Dad's trauma onto her. That he went through something none of us would understand. She also said she has no obligation to the baby and that I'm almost out of Mom's house and she doesn't need to be around the baby at all once I'm gone. My mom and Chris have repeatedly tried to change her mind. So one day I told them they were being so weird with Grandma and the baby. I told them Grandma has nothing to do with this and it sucks that the baby won't have grandparents. Chris' parents are dead. But it doesn't mean my grandma owes anything. My mom said Grandma could do something loving and generous and I should be encouraging Grandma and not calling Chris and her weird. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. There have been multiple posts recently on people expecting others to accept people into their family that aren't actually their family members, former son-in-law's new family, etc., and it utterly baffles me. Especially since in this case, they're blaming Grandma for her son's trauma to manipulate her. Not the asshole. Your mom and her husband need a reality check. Not the asshole. It's ridiculous that they are hounding your poor grandma over a blanket, and expect her to have anything to do with the new baby that's not related to her. Not the asshole. You are a very young and very mature man. I admire that you understand that your dad was sick and I thank you for that. My family history is full of addicts and alcoholics. Not one of them chose that disease. It might be presumptuous of me to say this, but I am old enough to be your dad. I think he'd be very proud of you.